Live from our Kwacha studios in Blantyre, we bring you the latest edition of NBC News with me, Kumbukani Piri, and my sign language interpreter, Townsend Kamalata. Coming up. Government reaffirms its unwavering commitment to global nuclear disarmament and the promotion of international peace. Malawi needs at least 88 High Court judges to effectively clear the nation's growing case backlog and ensure the timely delivery of justice. And the Blantyre City Council shuts down business entities and major institutions for failing to settle millions in outstanding city rates. Our top story tonight, government has expressed its commitment to supporting global efforts towards nuclear disarmament and international peace. Principal Secretary for Legal Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mary Kachale, made the remarks in Lilongwe during the 2026 Hiroshima and Nagasaki poster exhibition. Madali Tomhango compiled this report.
6 and 9 August 1945 are unforgettable days for Japan when atomic bombs hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing thousands of people. Speaking during the exhibition, Principal Secretary for Legal Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mary Kachale, said the exhibition is a reminder to Malawians and the world that nuclear weapons are instruments of destruction and a threat to global security. Kachale expressed government's commitment to supporting international frameworks and initiatives aimed at promoting global peace.
Malawi is a member of the UN and other committees that are committed to disarmament. In essence, what Malawi advocates is a world where nuclear weapons are not seen as weapons of security, but rather they are an existential threat to human life. That's the main message that the Malawi government is committed to, and that's why today we have joined the Embassy of Japan in commemorating this day today.
Japanese ambassador to Malawi, Yasushi Naito, said the exhibition provides an opportunity to reflect on the importance of peace among nations. Naito emphasized the need for nations to refrain from using nuclear weapons, highlighting their humanitarian effects.
Japan is the only country in human life that experienced the disaster of atomic bomb. So this year we would like to remind the devastating consequence of the nuclear weapon. It is especially because of this destabilizing international situation that we should be reminded.
This year marks 81 years since the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, making Japan the only country in history to have suffered atomic bombings. The 2026 Hiroshima and Nagasaki poster exhibition will run from 9 to 13 March at Lilongwe City Council. Madalito Muhango, NBC News, Lilongwe.
The Indian High Commissioner to Malawi, Amararam Gujar, says technology-driven education is key to achieving sustainable and long-term social economic development in the country. Gujar was speaking at Mzuzu University following an interaction with the university's management and staff. Chimoyo Milulu reports.
In his remarks, the Indian High Commissioner emphasized the need for collaboration between Mzuzu University and Indian universities to promote technology-driven education at the institution.
In 21st century, it is led by the technology, So whichever country has the upper hand in the technology, that country, I think, will grow more faster way. So now I think we have to seriously make efforts to have the technology access. That is very, very important. Technology or innovation. So these kind of, I think, things, every educational institute should focus on it, because future lies with these, domain.
During the interaction, Vice-Chancellor from Zuzu University, Professor Wells Singini, said their institution places research and innovation at the center of their education programs.
That has also become one of our key elements as an institution. And this is the reason why even our strategic plan, we have a specific pillar, research, innovation, technology, to make sure that our emphasis and our efforts are also directed towards that unit. And in the process, this is the reason why, as part of our implementation of World Bank project, we indicated that we want to construct an entrepreneurs training and incubation center. Yes, the pilot for that entrepreneurs training and incubation center is the ICT and the renewable energy, purely for innovation and technology development. We have seen that our youth, especially our students, are developing good innovations that are coming out.
During the visit, the Indian High Commissioner to Malawi was also conducted around the university campus and ongoing project sites, such as construction of the institution's library. Chimwemwe Milulu, MBC News, Mzuzu.
Officials at the Mangochi District Council Welfare Office have disclosed that the demand for government secondary school bursaries has dropped significantly following the implementation of free secondary education. According to the district's bursary coordinator, Harvey Mbwezo, the number of needy students requiring financial support in community day secondary schools has fallen to 0, while only 30 students remain on the scheme in boarding schools. Sotini Ndazi has filed a report read by Owen Mavula.
In January this year, government rolled out free secondary education, an initiative aimed to eliminate financial barriers that prevent students from attending school. In Mangochi, authorities say the initiative has not only helped reduce school dropout among students, but also reduce pressure on demand for school bursary in government secondary schools. Bursary coordinator for Mangochi District Council, Harvey Mbwezo, has told MBC that in the last school calendar, the district registered about 69 girls and 83 boys on the list of those in need of school fees, and the office managed to secure support for 52 girls and 33 boys. But the introduction of free secondary education, he says, has helped ease the pressure on the demand for the bursary scheme.
Whilst this year, with the introduction, we could see that there is a big change. Students that have been selected to community day secondary schools are not coming to seek support from here. They know it well that the government has introduced a free secondary school education.
Commenting on the development, Executive Director for Link for Education Governance, Dr. Limbani Sapato, said the initiative will go a long way in reducing financial burden on parents and philanthropic organizations.
Can see that free education will offer more opportunities, especially for students that are needed so that they can complete their education. It will also reduce the burden on the parents and the philanthropic organizations from looking for bursaries in order to settle fees for disadvantaged students. Hence, we would like to commend the government for this initiative and request that the government continues with this policy.
The introduction of free secondary education is also seen by many as a significant move towards advancing Malawi's human capital development.
The judiciary says Malawi needs at least 88 High Court judges to dispose of the increasing number of cases in a timely manner. Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Innocent Nebi, made the remarks after appearing before the Parliamentary Cluster Committee on Legal Affairs in Lilongwe. Among other requests, the judiciary is lobbying for an additional 16 billion kwacha on top of the 46 billion kwacha allocated by the Treasury for the 2026-27 financial year. Isaac Jali has a report.
Appearing before the Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, the judiciary said the 46 billion kwacha allocated in the 2026-2027 financial year will not be enough for a number of activities lined up. Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Innocent Nebi, told the committee that these include construction of the judicial complex in Lilongwe, construction and rehabilitation of some courts in various parts of the country, including Nsanje, Salima, and Nkugula and Doa district, as well as the replacement of vehicles for judges, among others. He said the judiciary therefore needs an additional 16 billion kwacha. Nebi said more importantly, the judiciary intends to implement a functional review, and one of the activities under the review is the recruitment of up to 88 judges who will be engaged in phases, starting with 10 in this financial year. He disclosed that currently there is a vacancy rate of 49% for judges, while for magistrates it stands at 72%, a situation that contributes to the slow disposal of cases.
Generally, as the judiciary, we are on a transformative trajectory, meaning that we are undertaking some reforms in the judiciary. We have started the process of recruiting 10 new judges. So this will also require resources. In addition to that, development-wise, we have several projects on the ground, the major one being the construction of the new judicial complex here in Lilongwe opposite Parliament.
Chairperson of the Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, Gifty Nkhani, said the committee is convinced by the report, particularly the appeal to recruit more judges to help dispose of the backlog of cases. Nkhani therefore said the committee will lobby for the increment during plenary.
The population in Malawi has increased. We really need to increase the number of judges if there has to be proper justice to Malawians. So the committee agreed that we need to increase the number of judges, starting with the 10 that they're requesting for now, and then maybe support them eventually in their strategic plan to have at least 88 judges.
Currently, Malawi has 45 High Court judges against a population of more than 20 million. For some time, legal experts have warned that if the mismatch between the growing population of the country and the number of available judges is not addressed, the backlog of court cases will persist. It is therefore expected that the Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament will lobby for more funding. Isaac Jali, MBC, Lilongwe.
Now, a financial advisory team hired by the Public Service Pension Trust Fund to value the purchase of Amaryllis Hotel pegged the property at nearly 35 billion kwacha, even though the proposed purchase price was 48 billion kwacha. According to reports from both the FDH Financial Advisory Team and Continental Asset Managers, it would take approximately 40 years for the pension fund to recover its investment at the 48 billion kwacha price point. However, the Public Service Pension Trust Fund proceeded to purchase the hotel for 128.75 billion kwacha, defying advice from financial advisors and the Reserve Bank of Malawi, RBM. Trust Office has details in this report.
Reports of the sale of Amaryllis Hotel came to the limelight earlier this year through whistleblowers as well as social media activists who questioned the decision by the Public Service Pension Trust Fund to buy the hotel at what was described as an exorbitant price. FDH Bank manager Noel Nkulichi said the hotel needed to be valued at 30 billion kwacha to make business sense.
So the advice that we gave was to, first of all, get enough information from both Amaryllis Hotel, from the market as well as from the fund, and then put together, synthesize that, and we came up with the valuation. The valuation was pegged at 30 billion. If you were there, you could see how that process was done. Two methods were used, so we averaged those two methods and came up with the 30 billion.
Continental Asset Managers, who were also tasked to provide advisory services to the Public Service Pension Trust Fund, valued the hotel at 36 billion kwacha, which would reportedly also take over 40 years to recover. Public Accounts Committee Chairperson Steve Malondela has since promised to follow through the issue to its logical conclusion.
We're just trying to ensure that the people who are working don't get to be negatively impacted due to poor investment. But as I've said, this is the first day. We're yet to get to the pension fund. You're looking at the Reserve Bank, you're looking at the Attorney General, the SCP. So being a first day, the impact is going to shape itself as we go along.
The public inquiry by the Parliamentary Committee on Public Accounts is expected to continue until Friday this week, with a preliminary report by the committee expected to be presented next Monday. Trust Office, MBC News, Lirongwe.
This is MBC News, a reminder of our top stories. Government reaffirms its unwavering commitment to global nuclear disarmament and the promotion of international peace. Malawi needs at least 88 High Court judges to effectively clear the nation's growing case backlog and ensure the timely delivery of justice. And the Blantyre City Council shuts down business entities and major institutions for failing to settle millions in outstanding city rates.
Kapena 0999 012 734. Malawi Lake Services, Bwenzi Laose.
Welcome back to MBC News. The Blantyre City Council has shut down several business entities and institutions for failing to settle their outstanding city rates. The exercise, led by City Mayor Councillor Isaac Jomo Osman and the Malawi Police Service, follows the expiration of a 2-month ultimatum issued to property owners. Chisomo Break reports.
The first institution to be closed was Malawi Housing Headquarters in Blantyre, which owes the council 460 million kwacha in city rates. The mayor proceeded to Pacific Limited building in Chiwembe and sealed the offices for failing to settle 52 million kwacha. The city mayor then shut down Malawi Congress Party buildings at Chichiri and Clock Tower in Blantyre for owing the city in excess of 132 million kwacha. According to Osman, failure by business entities to pay city rates is compromising service delivery in the city.
This initiative is very important, and I want to tell everyone who has our wages that we are going to come after you. It's high time that each and everyone need to know that it's important for him or for everyone who lives in Blantyre to pay city rents. Otherwise, if you are not paying, we are going to come after you. All the residents in Blantyre are crying because of potholes that is surround Blantyre. Now, to fulfill the challenge that we have, we need money. We are still waiting for the government budget. That budget is going to come, I think, after April. Now, are we going to leave people to live the way they are living in Blantyre? No. We need to find ways where we can find the resources, and we need to give them the services, that they are looking for. It's what we are doing.
The mayor and his entourage visited Victoria Hotel and Gardens in Blantyre, where owners paid their arrears on spot. According to the city records, business entities in Blantyre City owe the city over 8 billion kwacha. Chisomo Break, MBC News, Blantyre.
The Department of Mining has emphasized the need for increased investment in exploration and laboratory analysis within the sector. According to Principal Secretary in the Department of Mining, Andrew Chisamba, he made the remarks in Lilongwe during a meeting with the Parliamentary Cluster Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources and Climate Change. Margaret Mapando reports.
Acting Principal Secretary in the Department of Mining, Andrew Chisamba, says investing in the sector would enable the country to collect its own data, reducing reliance on external investors and ensuring more accurate information. He says the Department of Mining has recommended government to invest more in the sector to allow the country to build its own capacity, enabling investors to focus on building mines rather than conducting exploration.
The government needs to invest substantively in the area of exploration and in the area of laboratory analysis. So we have presented to us to the committee the figures that we are looking for us to buy adequate exploration equipment, but also to invest in exploration in a number of areas, so that at the end of the day we should have data of our own. We shouldn't be allowing investors coming from outside there to do exploration for us. They do exploration, they cannot tell us everything that they've found. So the information that we get sometimes may not be exactly what they've got. We want to do it ourselves so that the investors should just come here to build a mine.
Chairperson of the Parliamentary Cluster Committee on Agriculture and Irrigation and Natural Resources and Climate Change, Teaone Henry, says the committee identified gaps in priorities, particularly in mining, and recommended changes to focus on exploration and data collection.
We're saying that 2026, 2027, the focus should be exploration. If they are to be given funding, the funding should be channeled towards exploration, benchmarking, and making sure that they've got the capacity now to say proudly that we are doing mining in Malawi.
Following this, the Parliamentary Cluster Committee has recommended the Department of Mining to identify key priorities and come back with concrete plans. Margaret Mabando, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Government says it will construct a dike in flood-prone areas of Karonga district as one of the measures aimed at protecting lives and property from recurring floods. Director of Disaster Preparedness and Response at the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DOTMA, Charles Matabwa, in Karonga, when he said this when he handed over relief items to over 1,000 households affected by floods that have hit the district in recent days. George Mkandawira reports from Karonga.
According to Matabwa, there has to be a lasting solution to prolonged floods hitting the district. Matabwa also urged people living in flood-prone areas to strictly follow precautionary measures and pay attention to weather updates to avoid loss of life and property.
It's a multi-sectoral thing, so I wouldn't preempt a lot at the moment, but one thing is for sure, the dike will be constructed. And we'll always continue to make sure life is protected and people are sustained. Among the items distributed during the exercise were blankets, maize, beans and various kitchen items to assist the affected families currently staying in camps. Speaking at the event, Paramount Chief Kyung of Kalonga and Chitipa commended government for responding to the needs of his people through provision of relief food and the planned construction of the dike, saying the development will help protect communities from future floods.
We say thank you to the government through the President, Professor Peter Mutharika, for having acted with great speed to come and rescue our people with relief items. But also I'm calling on my people. They must work harder. They must not be depending on handouts every year. We are thankful to government that they've thought it wise to construct a new dike. Maybe that could be another way of helping our people.
Karonga District Commissioner Wirad Mwambo also expressed gratitude for the support, noting that communities in both camps have been facing serious challenges following the floods.
The coming up of the dike will indeed come with the permanent solution so that people will not be affected anymore.
One of the beneficiaries, Aisha Mondangara, who is currently staying at Noel Camp in Kambo area under traditional authority Kyungu, said relief items they have received will help ease the hardships families have been facing since they were displaced. According to authorities, the floods in Kalonga district have affected about 2,600 people with 1,355 households under Parliament Chief Kyungu and Kirupura. George Nkandawire, MBC, Karonga.
And that item also concludes this edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories before we leave. Government reaffirms its unwavering commitment to global nuclear disarmament and the promotion of international peace. Malawi needs at least 88 High Court judges to effectively clear the nation's growing case backlog and ensure the timely delivery of justice. And the Blantyre City Council shuts down business entities and major institutions for failing to settle millions in outstanding city rates. Keep up to date with our news coverage on our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You've been with me, Kumbukani Piri, and my sign language interpreter, Tausen Kamalata. Thanks for watching and goodbye.